Welcome to War Room Sports TV. War Room Sports is brought to you by Audible.com. Download a free audiobook of your choice by going to audibletrial.com/War Room Sports.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows that the War Room is huge hip-hop fans as well as sports, so we try to reach out to up-and-comers, before they make it big and won't come on our show. No, I'm just joking. But with that being said, our guest tonight is one of the hottest producers in hip-hop, and he's currently nominated as the best producer in Philadelphia at the Philadelphia Hip Hop Awards. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on our guest and let him tell you more about himself. Wesmanchild, what's happening, homie?
What's going on, fellas? Good to be in the War Room, the War Report. I'm going crazy because I'm looking at this whole Chris Paul trade situation on ESPN right now.
Oh, yes.
Twitter buzzing right about now.
Before we get into about you, what do you think about the trade since you brought it up?
I think it's a good deal, but from what I'm seeing, the Lakers are giving up whether Paul Gasol is going to the Rockets and Lamar Odom's going to Houston.
Odom's going too?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. If you're just going to be Andrew Bynum, with his injury problems, you're going to be real depleted down low. So, now everybody's saying they're trying to get Dwight Howard. So, I don't know how that's going to work out. If they pull that off, then it's real in L.A.
I just saw that Odom is gone. So, if Odom's gone, they definitely got to make that move and try to get Dwight Howard in there. Kobe and Chris Paul not doing that by themselves.
No, not at all. Especially with these, all these games in a week with this schedule. Kobe, I don't know if he's going to be able to hold up these old teams. It's going to be hard for them with this condensed schedule. So,
no doubt.
No doubt. Let's get into it, though. The first question I want to ask you is, how long have you been producing, and what made you want to make your living as a producer? Like, did you ever want to be a rapper? Everybody wants to rap, but what made you go to the other side of the, other side of the microphone?
Well, Jimmy, from way back, I've always, been in the music. We go back
Absolutely.
to back in the days. So I've always been into it. And then when I went to college, at college, my roommates and best friends were DJs. Y'all know DJ Drama and DJ Sense, both from Philly. And Philly is those my peoples. So I was always around them, and I used to DJ, dab a little bit, but I always had that ear for music. But I had the money to get an MP and no equipment back then. But I was always around it, and so I always had an ear for music. Like people always ask me certain things, that's what I was into, and I just, when they went to software, when you start doing stuff on software, I downloaded a couple of programs, started getting into it, and I guess for me being such a music head, it just came easy to me because I always had an ear for samples and everything. I just never had the means to put it out there. So
no doubt.
That's how it all started.
That's Wes. This is Dev. Definitely, you have an ear for samples because I've been listening to a lot of your tracks over the past few days, and some of those samples are crazy. We opened the show tonight with the Price is Right joint. The Price is Right. First of all, Price is Right. When I'm home on my lazy John, that's one of my favorite shows. So I got hyped when I heard that. But I want to ask you, and this is the War Room, so you can be completely candid. You can say what you want in here. Just keep it clean, language clean. But what do you think about the current state of hip hop?
It's a hard question because a lot of people, especially from like my age and our era, are quick to say, "Oh man, this new hip hop is terrible. It ain't this and ain't that, and there's no good music out." When I hear a lot of people constantly complain about it not being no good music out, I kind of always laugh because there's a lot of good music out. The problem is the powers that be, the labels, the video stations, and all that other stuff don't play a lot of good music. But with the internet nowadays, it's kind of like if you want to hear good music, you just can't be lazy. They're not going to force feed it to you. You got to go out and find it. Like it's underground. Again, you have to dig under to get it. So there's a lot of good music out there, even locally. Like there's a lot of good local music, but a lot of people who are, as internet savvy, not up on stuff, just don't go and, find it. But with the music climate, with the money, with the digital downloads, the internet has changed music so much for the good and for the bad, because nobody's really making money off record sales anymore. So a lot of these labels are scared, A&Rs are scared to actually put out artists who take a chance. They just want to try to hop on the next big fad, the next big hype thing, and that's why you have a lot of the mainstream music is really not as good as it was. So
see, here in the War Room, Jimmy is he's like our underground Tower Records. So he brings all the hotness to us because the stuff, like you said, the stuff that you hear on mainstream. Now, it's not you guys. It's not the producers, because if you're looking for just good music, production is in a great state right now. It's just what you have rhyming over these great beats is like wasting a lot of these great beats. So,
yo, you not into that new Gucci man, homie?
You know the crazy thing about that? For me, I went to school down in Atlanta, so when I was down in the late 90s, when the South was first started coming up, that was kind of a transition period. So I remember, I was down there with No Limit Bubble, Past Detroit and all that type of stuff. So I love South music because it reminded me of the time when I was down there, those crazy parties. So I go back to Atlanta all the time. So I was kind of on Gucci before a lot of people. It is what it is. But I always laugh with a lot of people up top and up north who just hop on the bandwagon of stuff because they think, oh, man, that's hot, that's hot. Like everybody was hype on Gucci. Now nobody talks about Gucci anymore. Now everybody's all on 2 Chainz out of nowhere. Like
No, but you made a really good point, though, because that's what music does. It's like the best timestamp out there. If it's something that was happening in your life at a certain time, whatever music was out at that time, it makes you a little nostalgic about what you were doing at the time. So I feel you on that.
Yeah, but I mean, okay.
No, I thought PJ, you got a question?
Oh yeah, Wes. This is PJ. I know you mentioned DJ Drama earlier. What's going on? I know you mentioned DJ Drama earlier. What other up and coming or notable rappers and producers have you worked with?
Well, the main artist that a lot of people know me for from last year, of course, is Chill Moody. We did the West Philly Project. The West Philly Project, which got, a lot of critical acclaim and, kind of helped put us both out there. That's one of the main ones. Another cat I worked with past year, this kid named Dosage. He actually just was on Lupe's mixtape. He was actually toured with Lupe for last year. He's actually coming out of Philly. A lot of people, don't really know about him as much, but he's probably one of the dopest people out of Philly. You're probably going to blow up. I did a track for Neef from Young Guns, Neef Buck, on his last mixtape. So there's a couple of people. Then, of course, I got my, team I deal with, Boogie Mandela, Antoine Davis, who actually got projects coming out soon, but, about to get stuff popping with them. So, and I'm in the talks with other people about to work with some people and some stuff. So, it's a lot of stuff out there.
Cool. That's what's up.
Wes, what up? Boy, Brad.
What up?
Hot Block Commander. I got bars for you. I need some tracks early.
You took back to 2002 with the early, huh?
Early. I'm old school. Listen, fam, how's it feel being nominated Best Producer at the upcoming Philly Hip Hop Awards? And I guess what do you think your chances are to actually bring it home?
To keep it real, Jalil Beats is nominated in that category, so nobody else really has a chance of winning. Just to keep it 100, this dude, I'm a Boss is like the song that they play at clubs around the country at 12 o'clock at midnight. Like, that's the highlight song. So, and plus he just signed with Rock Nation. So, he's buzzing.
Yeah, I heard that.
But just to be, nominated in that, it's an honor. It basically lets me know that people out there paying attention, they see what I'm doing. Because, before that, I saw they were doing awards. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I really ain't think that much about it. But when you are nominated for stuff, it's just basically validation that people noticing what you're doing. So that's cool.
Yeah, I got another quick question for you. It's funny because, I talk hip-hop every day on Twitter to people and everything. And one thing I notice is people act like you can't be a Jay-Z fan and a Nas fan, and you can't be a Biggie fan and a Pac fan. So I'm just going to ask you, Are you a Jay-Z guy or a Nas guy, and are you a Pac guy or a Big guy?
Well, Jim, you remember way back in the days,
I remember when Illmatic came out. I remember that.
About to say, you used to quote Nas rhymes all the time, so back and forth. So, I mean, I was always a huge Nas fan, but I was always a big Jay fan, too, because I was one of the few people, like a lot of people from the era don't realize that a lot of people in Philly wasn't really messing with Jay when he first came out. I was one of the few people who had reasonable doubt.
All of us here in the War Room, we feel the same way you like. You know what I mean? We all love the early Jay before he became Hov. We put it like this. We like Jay-Z. We don't like Hov.
I'm a Jigga fan.
We like Jay-Z. We don't like Hov.
Yeah, we don't mess with him. Yeah, that blasphemous dude, we don't mess with him. The blasphemy.
I give you my whole opinion on Jay. You know, Reasonable Doubt, loved it. Volume 1, I had some little issues with it. The banging tracks, I liked the ones I did. Volume 2 and 3, I hated because that was that whole jiggy Swiss.
Yeah, that's when he started to go.
Like, yo, he sound like you sound like us, man. You sound like us.
But
we give you a Jay-Z timeline.
Yeah, I hated that whole sound, like that late 90s when I was in school. I was like, raucous out, like real hip hop stuff. So I hated that whole jiggy type sound. But then when with Blueprint and Black album, he came back. So I dealt with that. So I mean, it's kind of give and take. I just respect Jay got classics upon classics. But in phases, I wasn't listening to him in the late '90s. But as far as the Biggie and Pac thing, I was a Biggie person. I'm not gonna sit up here and front like, oh, I'm a Pac fan because I wasn't back in the day, and a lot of people do. Hindsight, but I remember back in the mid-'90s, people weren't messing with Pac. People was all Biggie down on the East Coast. But, after he died, it's like the cliche thing to do, to say I was listening to Pac when they weren't.
But, yeah, I mean, I guess hindsight is 20/20, and as you gain some maturity and perspective, it's art. So you can go back and you can listen and you can appreciate some of the things that thematically you can appreciate Pac, even if his lyrical wordplay and skill wasn't, on par with some of his contemporaries.
Hey, be awesome. Stop trying to clear it up. Pac is trash. Let's move on.
Yo, listen, we was recently at an engagement, and Jimmy just stopped the whole room and said Pac is trash. Yo, we had to take it back in the day, and we was rumbling to get out of there.
So we got somebody on our Facebook page.
They ready to fight for him.
Manuel on our Facebook page, Jimmy said Hov has never made a bad album except Kingdom Come.
Did they listen to Volume 3?
I'm not even gonna comment on them, man. I'm gonna talk to him after the show on Facebook. I'm gonna do with him after the show. But let me ask you a question, Wes, about sports.
Yeah,
you know that you're a big soccer fan. You know you're a big soccer fan. We can't think of anything to talk about because none of us watch soccer.
I'll explain it because you'll know how much flack I get from everybody about this. All right. The whole thing started. First, I would give you the background. I went over to London like around 2004. I was over there with me and my boys. We went over there, European thing for New Year's. I was stuck over there for like 8 days. It was cool. There was nothing on TV for me to watch. So I was like, dang, I need to watch some on TV at the hotel. So, bang, soccer games was on. Now, I knew about certain teams like the Manchester United and all for Beckham from way back in the 90s. But I was over there. I started watching them, and I seen Team Arsenal play. And, most of us over here, we associate soccer with being a suburban white sport for the most part because that's how it is here. It's not like that everywhere else in the world. But I saw Arsenal. I just saw these regular black dudes who looked like they from around the way playing, and they was doing moves, and, it was hot. So, in the book area, I was play all the time. I got into it, and then when I came back, I had DirecTV, and they had the Fox Soccer channel, so I started just tuning in, and from then on, I became a diehard Arsenal fan, and I found out I'd be going to the pubs downtown for those. We got old cool people from Philly who watch it, called the Philly Gooners. It's serious. We got
it's funny.
Everything.
It's funny that you mentioned that. This is B. My wife is Ghanaian, and so this World Cup, Ghana was like the last African team left in the pool, and I found myself really into it and watching it. It really is a great sport. But coming up, when you grow up, as you say, it's a suburban sport. And so you don't really have that appreciation. You're one of the few people that I know besides myself that has picked it up as an adult and really said, all right, let me learn this and kind of get a feel for it. It really is a great sport. It's a great sport.
Yeah. And
I feel you. I jump on the bandwagon. The U.S. got a big game.
Why do you think it hasn't picked up over here like it does in other countries? What's your opinion on that?
Well, because when it has happened, it's starting to pick up a lot more now. Like, actually, like January 22nd, my team, also, they playing Manchester United on Fox. Regular Channel 29, they broadcasting that game. It's the first time ever, like, national TV will be broadcast. So it's starting to pick up now. But because growing up, we couldn't see the leagues in Europe. Like American MLS, even though we had the Philly Union, I went to a couple of their games. The games are hype when you're there in person, but American soccer is terrible watching it because it's like comparing watching European. It's like watching European basketball to the NBA. It's just not the same. So when you watch those European leagues, like the English league, it's a whole nother level. So now with satellite TV, you can watch. The games come on Saturday morning on ESPN2. You can watch it on Fox Soccer. So it's just more accessibility. And now with the younger generation, it's starting to blow up. Like a lot more teenagers, college people, and more immigrants into this country. Of course, that helps too. So it's blowing up now.
That's what's up. Well, who do you root for in the four major sports? The four major sports over here. Who are your teams there?
Well, for the most part, I'm kind of a homer. I mean, I mess with, with the Phillies, the Flyers. When I do, I only like playoff hockey. I ain't going to sit in front like I watch it all year. But playoff hockey is the truth. The Sixers, when they do all right, I'll look out for them. But I'm just a basketball fan in general. So, and plus, I don't got Comcast, so I got DirecTV, so I can't watch Sixers games anyway, so I'm not missing nothing. But I got the NBA ticket, season pass, so I watch all the other games. As far as football, I'm a Denver and the Eagles fan. Growing up, I was a diehard Elway fan when I played quarterback at number 7.
Just like me.
So I'm a diehard Elway fan, Denver Bronco fan. But I mess with the Eagles, but I always hated their offense. I loved the Bunny Ryan's defense, but I was an offensive person, and I never liked the offense. I really didn't start riding with the Eagles again, so I left and went to college, and I was in Atlanta. And then when they drafted Donovan, when you're away, you kind of get that homesick thing, and then the whole direction, so I started going with them.
You represent more when you're out of town.
Yeah, and I went to a couple of games in Atlanta where we were louder than that fraud city. Don't get me started on them, but that fraud.
They got a pink stadium, man. They got a pink dome.
Atlanta is the worst sports city in America. I tell
you brought up another question. You really think Atlanta?
I don't know. It might be Miami though. Might be Miami.
You think it was in Miami? Because Miami is fraud.
But at least Miami
the Heat didn't even sell out every game last year.
Yeah, I mean Miami's a fraud. Miami's a tourist town though. You expect that from Miami. Atlanta just has so many transplants that it's just people like when I was there in school.
Wes, you said they have so many transvestites.
No, they have that too.
See, because them type of folks that they're popular for now, they're not really into sports. I'm sorry. My bad.
Gilbert and Vince got caught up in those clubs down there a couple of times. So, some athletes
Vince is sweet and Gilbert's weird.
Yeah, Gilbert was cool down there. People said they saw him at Bulldogs down there. If your name gets Bulldogs, it's not a good look. So, but anyway, but I mess with the Eagles, but I'm jaded with the Eagles because after what was the game, the last game at the Vet, after that Tampa Bay loss, that kind of felt like a punch to the stomach, and ever since then, I messed with them. 2002. It was 03. Yeah, 03 was 2002 was the Rams. 03 was the Tampa Bay. But ever since then, like I go in with them, but I expect the worst, and that's what it is.
So you became a typical Philadelphian.
Yeah. Yeah, I look at them objectively because I expect them to mess up because it's a repeat pattern.
Right. So speaking of the Eagles, Wes, what do you think of the debacle this season? Like with all the expectations that they had, and in your opinion, should Andy Reid be fired?
Yep, he should have been fired last year, man.
Wow.
This guy is still. I told people when he hired Juan Castillo, I told people it's a wrap. Why? If people really downplayed that, I said, how you got rid of Sean McDermott? I mean, bear in mind the defense wasn't balling, but a lot of that goes on updrafted defensive players. If you look at the defensive players they drafted, it's terrible. The only two good players they drafted in the last 4 years was Macklin and McCoy. Those are offensive guys. So I
think McDermott should have got more of a chance strictly because he's from the Jim Johnson tree. I mean, give him a chance. Maybe he learned something. It's not going to happen in 1 year. So
but you got to think of the logic. You get rid of a guy who actually was in defense. I hired an offensive line coach to coach your defense. Like, come on, dog. Like that was just ridiculous. And I mean, it shows.
Maybe we can get Ray Rose back, man.
Man, I'm cool on that. That's right. Maybe you could get him to bring back Bobby Horne and Rodney Peete and all those guys too, huh?
There you go.
Or maybe we'll get Rob Ryan to be the new Buddy Ryan.
That's what they should have got. They should have went out and got Rob Ryan before he went to Dallas. But neither here nor there.
We don't pay like Dallas in Philly.
We gotta get it to hoops. We gotta get it to basketball because I know you're a big hoops fan. I mean, you're from the crib, so. That's a natural thing. What were your thoughts of the lockout? Whose side did you fall on, and what do you think of the outcome?
I mean, I really didn't fall on either side. I mean, because it's the whole billionaires versus millionaires argument. So I think it was needed because that system that they had in place was broken for the most part. I mean, it's like the have-nots, the teams that were good with making monies, but the Sacramentos, the Minnesotas, the Milwaukee Bucks, like nobody's really going to see them. So the system it was just out of whack, and they need to do something to fix it with these deals. Anytime you got a system, remember, like Vin Baker was getting paid millions, and he was somewhere in Hartford drinking. Like, it makes no sense. McKee was getting checks from like 3 different teams at one point. So,
but the thing is, all the financial problems that they had with the system, I don't really see anything that they did necessarily to address that. Because I think the contracts are going to be even worse this year than they were before the lockout.
Yeah, it's still. I thought it was going to be more drastic changes, but they're probably going to lock out again in another. I mean, whenever the next CBA is up. I mean, it is what it is.
It's a 10-year, and they can opt out after 7. So I guarantee they're going to opt out after 7.
Yeah, but
I think this outcome was just because people were losing money, and it was just time to play. I think that's why they came to the table.
And the way it is now with all these super teams and everything they're trying to do, it's kind of like you have to get bad in order to, like, terribly bad and luck over the top pick to actually do something in the NBA. I mean, you can have a team full of good guys, but if you have good players, you don't have that star player, you're only going to go but so far. And, I mean, now with the players controlling and trying to make all these super teams, who knows where it's going to go.
Yeah, it's going to be 5 good teams in the league, and everybody else is going to make you mad that you got the NBA season pass.
Yeah, everybody nobody to go to the Wells Fargo to see those 5 teams.
Right, and plus those 5 teams are going to be on TV every weekend, so your season pass is going to be a waste of money. But this is we're going to get you out of here on this. Well, before we let you promote anything that you're doing, we're going to get you out of here on some predictions. We got 2 simple questions for you. Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl? And since we're talking hoops, who do you think is going to win the NBA Finals this year? Even though all the the deals and trades haven't gone on yet, but how it stands now, who do you think is going to win the Finals in the Super Bowl?
Well, Super Bowl is going to be the dream quarterback matchup, I think. Well, I want it to be, but I don't know. Baltimore might have a say in that. But I want it to be Aaron Rodgers versus Brady, but I think Green Bay is going to win because Aaron Rodgers is playing out of his damn mind right about now.
Balling.
Like
never seen nothing like it.
The passes he's throwing, I've never seen anybody throwing and run that accurately. It's ridiculous. Like it's really like watching Madden, somebody like just with the cheat codes. As far as basketball, I actually think Miami's going to do it. I mean, they did sign Battier, who at least can help with with some of the three-point shooting and defending. But just that talent, them being back together, I think they are going to do it. I actually don't think the Lakers are going to go, though, and everybody's going to jump on the bandwagon. Now, if they get Dwight Howard, they will, but if not, I'm going to go Oklahoma City. That's
why I asked you
Westbrook
now.
puts in his mind.
If some big trades happen, we'll make sure we get your opinion again so people won't be like, what was he talking about? So we'll definitely make sure we ask you again if any more big trades go down. So that's what's up.
No doubt. No doubt. Anyway, before you go, tell everybody the current projects you're working on. I know you said you had an album dropping in January.
Yeah, it's a couple of things. First, as far as, next week will be 1 year since we dropped West Chili. So this week, Chill Moody actually put out the acapellas for producers to try to go on. Next Tuesday, I'm dropping all the instrumentals that I did from the album. So I dropped that on December 13th. So, people, if they want to spit, I dropped the download link. Like you said, bars, just go in on them, and email me what you got. If they feel, it is what it is, post them up. But just just giving them out. Me and Antoine Davis, we doing a tribute, Anita Baker tribute album coming out January 26th. I did it already with Michael Jackson. I'm trying to do an actual series of these, but I basically took all Anita Baker songs, chopped them up, sampled, and we're going to have probably around 12 songs of that. What else? Got a project coming out. Let's do SK from Uptown, SK Philly. That'll be out probably in March. Antoine Davis established. I did 11 tracks on there. My man Boogie Mandela got his Dirty Harmony. I did 10 tracks on there. And me just got Riz Deluxe. Huh?
I said, so you sound like you working, man.
Yeah, and also me and my man Riz Deluxe, we, another producer, we just came up with an idea. We're going to do that. We're going to do a Philly International based project where we're going to chop up all the stuff from Philly International and do that.
Come on, man.
So.
That'll be sick. But my question is, when you make these instrumentals and put them out, aren't you worried about some whack MCs taking your beats and doing something with it?
With the West Chili joint, with the instrumentals, people already know the album is there, so it's a reference point with that. The project has already been out for a while, so it's not like they're new beats I'm putting out and somebody's going to go in and put some terrible bars. So it is what it is.
You're right. I was going to use a West beat and just freestyle our intro tonight. And I'm definitely a whack MC. I'm definitely a whack MC, so that would have counted for that. But
well, give everybody your Twitter handle and your SoundCloud before we get you out of there so they can check out your work.
Twitter is Wesmanchild. It's not West with a T. It's just West, like Wesley. WESMANCHILD. SoundCloud is Wesmanchild. Everything is. I got a YouTube page. I don't got a whole bunch of stuff on it, but I actually got links to favorites to a lot of stuff I did. Even if you just Google Wesmanchild, if it's something I produce, usually it's out there.
Yeah, and I follow the boy on Twitter, and during the soccer matches, he be going crazy.
I want everybody. On Saturday mornings is when I go up. Most people don't wake up when the soccer is on. So if you wake up around 11 and 12, then you won't see me. But my timeline at that time is full of nothing but overseas people, Arsenal fans talking about soccer. So it's not like I just be stashing to myself. I'll be going in with the rest of the crowd. So after 12, you usually calm down.
All right, no doubt. Well, thanks for coming in the War Room this evening, man. We really appreciate it. We're going to get you back next time you have a project coming out.
Enjoy you well.
No doubt.
All right, thanks, man. Good looking out.
All right, peace. Thank you.
All right, we'll talk to you.
All right.
I ain't even going to let the rhyme start on that one because that beat is crazy.
The samples be crazy, cuz.
That's the thing. That's why I was saying, and plus he just said the Philly International thing. His beats take you back in the day. You can tell that he respects music, not just hip hop, but he respects music from other genres.
Kenny Gamble.
Yeah, and
Gamble.
Older music, because some of his samples, I'd be like, yo, that was a John back in the day.
Yeah, no doubt.
Kuwait, it's the war room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys, diversified and educated.